over 50 million views.
Who cares?
You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show.
The Joe Cronin Show.
We are coming up on the day after WWE Fastlane 2018. Are you guys psyched up for Monday Night Raw tonight? I know a lot of people actually excited for Monday Night Raw tonight. I don't know if you really should be. I'm not really sure. We're going to talk about the Jeff Hardy situation, of course, him getting the DUI and getting arrested. WWE releasing a statement. How did they handle the Usos situation in comparison to this? It's the Joe Cronin Show. It is March 12, 2018. This is Joe Cronin. And I just dropped something. I went to say a bunch of other stuff, but I just dropped a can of shit on my freaking foot. Oh my God, that hurt. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, guys. Look for a Morning Madness to be up in just a little while after I get through this. So Jeff Hardy arrested, or not arrested? Yeah, arrested. Yeah, DUI. He's in trouble. WWE releases a statement. Now somebody told me I'm going through with other people saying people are telling me that this same thing happened with the Usos, that the WWE did release a statement, then kind of just backed off and didn't do anything after that. Plus, the Usos were, the tag team champions, of course, and, they didn't have the background history that Jeff has. So, that obviously that's going to play into it. It's a slopey situation. It's a slippery slope is what I'm trying to say. It's funny because Matt Hardy actually tweeted out, ever since the 7 deities have come to me, I do not put alcohol, drugs, or foreign substances into my vessel. I am more. That is weird. That's a weird, it's kind of bizarre. Your brother's in trouble for it, then you're like, I don't do it. I don't know, but I get it, So Matt Hardy's saying he doesn't do this stuff. I thought, Jeff didn't either. I mean, I was reluctant. I was thinking about tweeting Jeff's wife, but then I just thought that was not appropriate, so I just stayed out of it. But WWE released a response. Jeff Hardy is responsible for his own personal actions. We are investigating the matter, awaiting information from local law enforcement and officials. While Jeff has not commented on the arrest, it looks like brother Matt Hardy did reference the arrest in that tweet. So there you go. Driver of vehicle number 1 ran off the roadway to the right, in turn striking about 105 feet of guardrail before the back end of the car spun 90 degrees to the left, coming to the rest in the middle of the right northbound lane travel. The driver was arrested and charged with DUI. Police report an estimated $5,000 in damages to the 105-foot guardrail owned by the North Carolina Department of Transportation, which could be a factor in any resolution that court orders Hardy to pay. I would say my biggest concern in this whole thing is Jeff Hardy's well-being. Being that he has, a kid, family, and stuff like that, that this is bizarre. I assume it was alcohol and not marijuana based on this accident. Marijuana, you just kind of like, yeah, let's go home. It's a good time. But when you're drunk, is when you do something like this. So this really sounds to me like a drinking problem. So that's kind of shitty. That kind of sucks. So we'll move on from there. What does that mean for the Hardys as a tag team? Man, it's just too bad because he's such a talent, man. And who knows what they had planned for the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, or whatever. I mean, it's good for Matt Hardy, who's going to probably be more trusted now. All Matt Hardy has ever done is been a damn Boy Scout, okay? He's in the company. He's a Boy Scout. He does everything. Okay, he's not a Boy Scout, but he is a company guy who does what he's told and does what he's supposed to do. Even when Edge, goddamn, takes his girlfriend and they shit on him, he still goes out there and performs like a goddamn professional. Matt Hardy has displayed time and time again that he is a professional and that he deserves to be represented like that. And with his creative mind, his willingness to just do anything to progress his character, to entertain the fans, and to be the entertainer we want him to be, and to be the company man while still having, his own opinions, is pretty friggin' amazing when you look at it. You know what I mean? But, I hope Jeff Hardy's okay. By the way, guys, this is amazing. You guys know about this. This happened last year. Last year, guys, I am on the map. I got to tell you, I am on the map. If there was ever any doubt that Joe Cronin wasn't successful or that I didn't make it, bro. Let me tell you. Look at this. The Joe Cronin Show pop figure. Dude, an action figure. This is amazing. Somebody actually made the box. And, I mean, they got the hat right, dude. They got the T-shirt. Look at that. My T-shirt, it's not Daniel Bryan on the T-shirt. They actually put this on the figure. It's my actual shirt on the figure. Like, they painted all this on or whatever. Unbelievable. Look at, they even got the right hat the right way. Look at that. This is amazing, bro. Look at this. The goatee thing. I don't care. It's a better goatee than I have, probably. But Joe Cronin, I mean, pop figure. This was amazing. People wanted to buy these things. Boy, if there was any, telling that you made it, man. Unbelievable stuff right there. I can't even believe it, dude. I must be somebody. I must be somebody. Man, but, other people, all the haters out there, they can sit at home and continue to be garbage human beings and hide behind suits and ties and scumbag human beings and hurt women and all these other things. But, right here on the Joe Cronin Show, I must be so goddamn successful. I can't believe it. Holy Christ. But, man, so you guys, I just can't believe, that it's been going this way. We've been having a fun time. We're coming up to WrestleMania 34. This is amazing, dude. We have been doing this on YouTube since 2012. The only other person that's been doing this since 2012 left a long time ago. But here we are, still here, and I'm ready to go. So Joe Cronin's going to keep kicking ass with all you guys. We're going to keep having a good time, and everybody else can suck on an Italian sausage. How about that? Got to tell you right now, there's an exclusive Kenny Omega pin now available on the Second Chance store at WrestleCrate.com. Check this out if you guys want the Kenny Omega special limited edition exclusive right there on WrestleCrate.com. You can see their Twitter if you want to ask them about it right here at WrestleCrateUSA. Of course, it's WrestleCrate.com. Thank you to WrestleCrate. In a few minutes, I'm going to be opening up a WrestleCrate right here for you guys so we can take a look at it. They have been around for now over 3 years with me. They're the first sponsor, supporter I ever had back in, I want to say 2013, 2014. Whenever they started, we got their first ever box that they sent us. So, amazing stuff right there. Happy to be still part of that family, and definitely check them out. But we got more news. For all you WWE Network buffs, which I love going on there and just searching through stuff, and obviously the old Raws, the old SmackDowns, and the old episodes like that are really fun to watch. WWE Network News, they have their own news website. I didn't even know that. Look at this, WWENetworkNews.com reports the WWE Network will begin adding, is that a subsidiary or like a sub website that they created themselves to release news on their own network? Okay, I probably. They could just tweet it out. We'll begin adding WCW Thunder series to the Vault section of the streaming service on Monday. So you're finally, guys, you're finally going to get WCW Thunder for all you people that wanted to see a subpar show like WCW Thunder was. WCW Thunder, man, it truly was the SmackDown of WCW at the time. There were some great things that happened on Thunder, and it was always cool to see Thunder and tune in, but sometimes, man, sometimes Thunder was just a goddamn shit show. Sometimes. Sometimes it was great. I watched it almost, I would say I watched, all right, I would probably say honestly, I probably watched about 60% of Thunder episodes, maybe 50%. So I would say that. There's been times where I used to watch about 30% SmackDown, and, now I watch every SmackDown because they're their own thing, but also because of the show that I do. I don't know if I'd be watching Raw or SmackDown that much if I wasn't doing a show and I wasn't talking about wrestling every week and I didn't need to pay attention. I'm going to assume that I would miss a lot of stuff. I really would. I would probably go back to what I did back in 2003, 4, and 5, which I believe in 2003, 4, and 5, I think I watched SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, and maybe turned on Raw like once or twice during those 3 years. I was really out of it. You know what I mean? That was my 20s. I was drinking, partying, hanging out with girls, working and stuff, and I just totally tapped out of wrestling. I don't know. But, yeah, but I remember when I turned back on wrestling because I hadn't watched in a few months, and I turned it back on, and I seen JBL as John Bradshaw Layfield with the hat gimmick and the money and stuff, and I was like, what the hell is going on, man? The last time I seen him, he was an APA, and all of a sudden I turn on the TV, and he's coming out with the hat on, looking like a Texas investor or oil conglomerate or something. I was just like, I was dying. I was like, what the hell has been going on here? But it was, it ended up being pretty cool. I guess, for him, right? Oh, look at that. I was going down my Twitter feed, and I see Mark Marrow said, Lord, keep your arm around my shoulder and your hand over my mouth. And Brian James, the Road Dogg, said, Amen. Well, I'd like to add one thing to that. Lord, keep your arm around my shoulder and your hand over my mouth, and one of your priest's dick out of my ass. But in all seriousness, this is going to be amazing. It's what we predicted 6 months ago when we said Roman Reigns is going to face the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And because Roman Reigns is going to face the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, we need something to make the smarks and the indie and the internet and the people that aren't fucking retards happy in the WWE universe. So we're going to give them AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania 34. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It's AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, down in the dirty old St. Louis. I don't even know. I hope it's the last match. Everyone's talking about, will it be the last match? It is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. When it can be done, it always must be the last match. The main event should be this match. I am very concerned that it could be the first match of the night or somewhere in the middle. I mean, we've seen it defended like that before. Ric Flair, Macho Man, stuff like that comes to mind. Very similar to WrestleMania 8 in that sort of regards, right? So WrestleMania 8, you got Ric Flair versus Macho Man Randy Savage in a just phenomenal story. I thought a really good match with just emotion because of the story that was so great. And then, of course, the main event, though, was Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice, Psycho Sid. Will Hulk Hogan's career end because of Sid Justice? You know, that was the WWE Entertainment match, right? That was the Vince McMahon Entertainment match. Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice in the main event at WrestleMania 8. But the WWE Championship was defended by Macho Man against Ric Flair in a damn good wrestling match, or at least a really good story. You know, they had such a great story and heat. It was so fun to watch. And those, you know, you could draw parallels to that in a way here. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, a match that should tear the house down, and by all accounts be better than any match at WrestleMania 8. Although it will be tough to beat that Roddy Piper and Bret Hart match, in my opinion. Nice little Intercontinental match. But AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura could be the star of the show, and Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You know, that is the entertainment match. That's the Hulk Hogan versus Sid match. So it's possible it could go on last because not only, you know, did Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice, there was no belt on the line at that point. You know, at least in the Brock and Roman Reigns match, there is the WWE Universal Championship on the line, which I couldn't really give too much of a damn about, and I honestly don't like. I really am starting to hate it even more because you got two belts that look identical, pretty much, with the big WW logo. I don't like it. I don't like the tag belts look almost identical. The women's belts look almost identical. I don't like it. There needs to be one women's belt, put them on both shows, one tag team belt, put them on both shows, and there needs to be one WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Create two different shows with two different atmospheres. However, you could allow all champions to be floaters. That's basically at this point what I would create. That would allow you versatility with your champions. Champions could go to either show. General managers could vie and compete because they want the champions on their show. They want to draw controversy to their show. That could play into some of the storylines even while you do things. So that would be very interesting in and of itself. And around Survivor Series time, you know, you could have one general manager sending his guys over there to cause a problem to get the champion to come over to Raw or something like that. And then the SmackDown general manager could say, you know, you baited my champion so that he would come to your program and defend his title. You know, you really could create that weird competition or dynamic or jealousy that way. I don't know, but allow all the champions to go back and forth. And now you've made the Intercontinental belt really worth it, the USA title, the United States title worth it, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and all these things become main focal points. The problem for WWE is, one, they are shit at writing. They can't write worth a damn. They suck at it, in fact, mostly. I would say that only about 15% of the time do they create a good storyline and good dialogue in these situations, as opposed to years ago when it goes down every year. You know, you go back to probably, even in the mid-'90s and early '90s, you could probably give them a 20% for what they were writing, 30% for what they were writing, but a lot of that fell on the WWE superstars' interview skills, right? Jake the Snake Roberts was a cold, calculated interview. Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do, brother? All that stuff. It was simple, it was easy, and it worked, and I would give it a higher grade. They really didn't do much writing. They just went out and booked. And they said, here's a camera, Hulk Hogan, speaking to the camera. But Hulk Hogan had so much charisma that everybody was jizzing on the other side watching it. Same thing with, Macho Madness. And same thing with anybody else who had charisma back in the 80s, right? So charisma of the wrestlers and characters created what the 80s were. It made the 80s successful. In the 90s, it was successful for a little while at first, and then the 90s started to crap out, right? Everything started to get bad because there were no storylines, and the characters were a little bit lower down the notch. Bret Hart was great in the ring. He was a pretty good, character, but he didn't have that insane bombacity that Hulk Hogan had. Same thing with Shawn Michaels. As good as I love Shawn Michaels, my favorite wrestler of all time, but he didn't quite have that overreaching character of Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, and all those other type of people, So ratings maybe started to go down a little bit like that. So then the Attitude Era hits, right? The Attitude Era hits, and what happens in the Attitude Era? The writing goes out of your mind writing. Week-to-week storylines that we've never seen before. It wasn't like the beginning when Raw first was launched in 1993, 94, 95, and Raw kind of had basic sort of wrestling storylines, kind of like what we see right now. Week-to-week, okay, whatever. Last week, Psycho Sid turned on Shawn Michaels and powerbombed him, and then Diesel came out. It was very basic sort of stuff. But then in the Attitude Era, the writing went off the page. Week to week, the storylines were captivating, gripping. Never mind the TV-14. They cared about what they were writing. They were really writing a show to hang, to cling you into this thing, to hone you onto your television set. That's twice I have said the wrong thing. To hook you onto your television set, to hook you into their program. That's what they did in the late 90s, right? But then in the 2000s, it started getting a little bit less and less. And in 2006, it went. So over the years, it gets more diminished and more diminished. And now, where are we now? We are at a place in time where it's about the Attitude Era had the crazy over-the-top personalities, the unbelievable writing, and the decent wrestling. It was decent wrestling or creative wrestling, pretty good booking for the most part. So when you have pretty good booking, decent wrestling, over-the-top characters, and amazing writing. 4 things. Woo! That's what you had in the Attitude Era. 4 things. 4 things. Forget TV-14. Forget that. Forget titties popping out. 4 things. You had 4 things. What do you have right now? You have probably some of the best wrestling talent that you've ever had. Wrestling, number 1. You got it. Over-the-top characters that really come out of the screen and grab you, not really. Not so much. You got Braun Strowman going, get these hands, and brah, and Roman Reigns like, I'm the big dog. It's not very captivating. Not very good. Even AJ Styles, love him, my favorite top guy in the company. The champ, the camp that runs the stamp, nope, not going to do it. None of this is going to do it, okay? None of this is doing it. What I have just done and ranted on in the last few minutes has been more charismatic than half the crap I've seen on that show. So characters, no, you don't got it. You got wrestling. Week to week, really good storylines and writing that makes you hooked and want to keep watching? Nope, none of that. So you fail. Booking? They've made some pretty good booking decisions. They've made some decent booking decisions here or there. They've also made some lousy ones. Maybe 50-50 booking, you could say. And not in the term that we all know it as, 50-50 booking, but 50-50 booking. So really you're stuck with one thing, and that's the wrestling. And maybe the production value. Maybe the production value. If you can overlook the super cuts, the jump cuts, the in and out zooming that they didn't do back in the day, the overproduced segments. And I would say the music is really good. They do a good job with music and presentation, but that's not going to get it done. You can try to shine the turd all you want, but it ain't going to do the job. I just proved it to you. In the 80s, they had amazing character, decent matches, and I don't know after that. They had amazing character, decent matches, and the booking was okay. Probably a little bit better than it's been, but it was easier to book then. So at least they had 2 out of the 4 or 2 or 3 out of the 4 back in the 80s. In the early 90s, they had wrestling, decent characters, kind of, not really, but they really had a lot of wrestling back in the 90s. And what happened in 1995? How far did the decent wrestling get them? And the thing is, they really didn't even have the best wrestling. They had Shawn Michaels, but everybody else was still wrestling that old WWF style. So that you could argue that they didn't have any of that. You could argue that they had some decent booking, kind of, and they had some characters, but the levels were kind of lower. That's what you could say about the mid-90s, 1995 and 1996. That's what you could say. And no wonder the ratings were diving like they were then. The only thing saving the company right now is the awe of the casual fan who sees Roman Reigns and all these other guys like as characters a little bit, and the music and stuff like that, and they're entertained slightly by that week to week. But you've lost anybody with a brain cell, you know. And the only other thing holding it down are the crazy, insane internet fans or the crazy, hardcore WWE fans who are still sticking around to watch this thing. So you got your casuals and your like hardcore people that are sticking around for some reason, and that's what you're dealing with right now. And all you're really doing well is you have the ability to have really good wrestling matches. That's what WWE has right now. They have the ability to have very good wrestling matches, and sometimes they book brilliantly, but sometimes they book terribly too. So you mix all those things together, you can see why. You can see why right now is more successful than 1995, but you can also see why right now is not more successful than 2006 or 2001 or 1999 or 1998. These are all facts, and you know, anybody listening to this who especially is over the age of 30 can put this all in your head and say, yes, this makes perfect sense to me. And so there you go. We solved the problem. But right now, if you could take this ability to have these amazing wrestling matches that they do have an ability to do because their wrestling talent is better than it's ever been. If you could take that, you could create better storylines, right? That, and you could have 2 out of 4. Maybe you wouldn't have the over-the-top characters as much. Maybe you'd be asking some of your characters like AJ Styles and people like that to step out of their element a little bit. Maybe you'd turn Roman Reigns heel and make sure that he starts losing it on the microphone. You know, you could turn the volume up on Bray Wyatt a little bit. Finn Balor, let him just become the monster or whatever it is. Just let him become that all the time. If you could do all that stuff, you would have a more entertaining product. Your ratings would go up. You would have 1 million more people watching you. I guarantee it. It would go from 2.8 to 3 million every Raw to 4 million every Raw. Promise you. Promise you if you're able to do that, it would happen. And if you could create week-to-week stories that were more entertaining. The public and the people right now are set on week-to-week stories. Game of Thrones and multiple other shows that go, here's the end of the show, now get ready for next week. It's not standalone episodes. But right now with Raw, it always feels like standalone episodes. Even if Braun Strowman threw someone off a cliff last week, you know, it really always doesn't carry over the next week. Barely anything does. About maybe 15, maybe 3% of the show carries over to the next week, it feels like sometimes, until they really get close to their end build for a pay-per-view or something like that. No, you need to carry week-to-week storylines every single week. If you carry storylines week to week, it will carry into the pay-per-views, and people will buy into this stuff a whole hell of a lot more. But if you don't do that, you're not going to be good. Just like if I don't get subs, YouTube always says, oh, subs don't matter, it's about the views and things like that. Yes, that's true, because you get the views, you turn them into subs, and you turn subs into people who will support you on Patreon to make your channel go. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You can't just make videos and say, Patreon, Patreon. No, you need to make videos that are going to get lots of views, they're going to convert to subs, then people are going to trust you, understand what you're delivering on YouTube, and then they're going to become patrons. You're going to turn views into subs, turn subs into loyal fans, turn loyal fans into willing paying customers who'll support your product at patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You don't just get patrons. You don't just get subs all of a sudden. No, you gotta get views. You get the views, you get the subs. If you suck, you don't get the subs. That's what happens. WWE, if you don't get the week-to-week viewers watching Monday Night Raw, you don't get network subscriptions. If you don't get network subscriptions, you end up with less people watching your product. You end up with week-to-week people not being interested. You end up with the ratings dropping like they're doing. You end up with empty seats at a SmackDown show. You end up with no Pyro. You end up with commentary that sucks ass, that nobody likes, with robots sitting behind a goddamn desk saying this and that Vince McMahon told me to say. Actually, my voice is more entertaining than what they do. You end up with not a damn good announce team. That's what you end up with. You end up with Gorilla Monsoon was great. JR was great. Jerry the King Lawler was great. Vince McMahon was great. Jesse the Body Ventura was great. Lord fucking Alfred Hayes was great. And you end up with Corey Graves, Michael Cole, Booker T, the coach. You end up with Josh Matthews and all these other lame announcers that you've had that sit there and boringly tout the WWE line in a robotic voice with zero character and zero remembrance. I bet Gene Okerlund has more charisma and entertainment in his turds than they have on the Raw announce team right now. Corey Graves, you tried to do it, man. You tried to help out with the Pantera references and the Shadows Fall references and the Game of Thrones references and the pop culture references, but in the end, face, heel, robot is all I hear, and I'm confused, and I don't understand this announce team, and you know it, I know it, Vince McMahon might even not know it, but everybody else goddamn knows it, including the game himself, Triple H. My name is Joe Cronin, and I run the Joe Cronin Show, and I didn't get subs from anybody else. I created this damn channel in 2012 before most wrestling YouTubers were a damn thing, and I will continue doing that from this day forward. They even made a goddamn action figure after me, motherfuckers. Let me tell you what, I am a winner, and WWE right now is losing the battle. I know a winner when I see it. In WWE, if you had an ounce of a brain, you would have 1 million more subscribers. You would have 1 million more viewers. You would get the job done. You would hire an announcer like Joe Cronin. I don't even care if you hire me. Hire somebody out there with a passion who can deliver, has a character, who connects with the audience. But you can't do it. Because you're so close-minded and worried about defending yourselves on social media, like Jonathan Coachman calling everybody a sheep. Well, I'm sorry, Jonathan Coachman, but we're not sheep. Because if we were sheep, we would just open our mouths and put that big giant WWE dick right down our throats. But we refuse to do that because we have brains and we're not sheep. You're sheep. In fact, you work for ESPN, the biggest pile of crap agenda sheep Joe Cronin has ever seen. And I talk in the third person because I can. Mother effer, I will talk in the third person all day long because I am Joe Cronin and I make violence sexy. Hashtag fact.